Hi guys, it's Sarah here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is all about how I made this bed, the situation that I'm on. So it's a DIY pallet bed, and literally I bought almost everything here actually in Uganda, in Kampala. So I sourced everything for the bed myself. I already had a mattress, so I will not be telling you where I got my mattress because I had a mattress. But I'm going to walk you through how I literally made everything, and I'll voice over how I got my pallets. And yeah, let's get into this video. I hope you enjoy it. So I really wanted to do this kind of DIY because it is not the DIY you normally see that requires a lot of machinery or very many tools. It is literally dummy proof, so you are going to absolutely be able to do this tomorrow if you wanted to. So before we really dive into this, I just wanted you guys to get an understanding of what the place looked like before. It had orange and purple walls, and I thought they were very distracting from the tiles. So the first step that I made was to make sure that it was all kind of like a creamish white, but more on the white side. And this was because I had a really good mood board put together. As you can see, I just wanted some neutral colors, and I wanted the color to come from either my beddings or from plants or from little accessories here and there that I put together. But this was essentially my mood board. I wanted it to be a pallet bed. I wanted it to be something that wasn't too high up off the ground. So I was really looking for an aesthetic that spelled home, inward, and cozy. So as you can see, I had some pallets here that I got from a lady who I Googled. And one of the first exercises that I actually did was to go onto Rhino, as you can see, and try and see, okay, if I had this dimension for the pallet, what furniture could I make out of it? I tried to do a dining table, a couch, as well as a bed. This actually didn't end up coming to fruition. I actually just ended up using the pallets just for a bed and a coffee table. But it's something that I could do elsewhere, because to be fair, these pallets ended up costing me, I think each one was something like 10 or 8K. I actually don't remember, but yeah, each one wasn't that expensive. So it's such a good idea to try and use something that's already existing, in the sense that these things usually come in containers, and it's just a sustainable way of looking to use a material that's already there to do something pretty incredible. So yeah, here it is being tested on what kind of bed I wanted. I know I wanted a low headboard, although I don't know, that might change in the future, but this is basically me testing out what the bed would look like. For my bed, I used 14 pallets, and I cleaned them very well, and then I finished them off with some wood finish. I actually got my wood finish from Peacock Paints, so you can see the details here. It's a really good wood finish. You can kind of use thinner to thin it out. So what you can see here is basically the pallets weren't perfect. They had letters, numbers, but for me that was beautiful, because I like the fact that each of them was different, and therefore it served a different purpose, and it brought a little bit of edge to the bed. So this was actually quite fascinating for me because I tried to like put this thing together. And basically one thing I advise you is that before you do anything, make sure you fully clean these pallets out, because there were little spiders, little ants. So what I did is I got like actually some insecticide like Doom and something else, and I sprayed them heavily. So this is me just laying them down. I think you can see like here in the forefront, I actually was sleeping on the floor when I first moved into my place. So what I did was put the wood finish in a smaller container and then start painting each pallet. So really this was a pretty hectic process. It looks easy because the video is fast forwarded, but it actually took a minute to really be able to like spread it across everywhere. And then I would leave it to dry for a couple of hours. So I just jointed these videos together, but I had let it dry and then I put on the rest of the pallets. And I was able to then go ahead, make sure everything lined up properly, you know, to the way that I wanted it to be. And yeah, just like, you know, put the wood finish on the rest of the wood. As you can see, it's something you can literally do like by yourself. You don't need any expert help. I also ended up doing the sides, and what you're not going to see in this entire video is I actually ended up pulling the whole thing apart and doing the undersides, doing each and every side of each pallet. That way it's actually protected and finished properly. So in this video you're just going to see me doing the 3-4 sides, but I actually ended up doing each and every side. So yeah, this is what it looked like when it was drying up. I actually ended up, because I was sleeping in this bedroom on the floor, I actually ended up having to carry all of these into my living room because the smell was crazy. Just like with any paint, you don't want to sleep in a freshly painted room because of all the toxins and the gases that it emits. So I ended up removing these from my bedroom until they were fully dry. So after that, when everything was all nice and dry, which took I think a day or two, I was then able to move my mattress onto it, but I had to measure up the bed to make sure it was in the center of the room, as you can see. And then after that, I was able to, just like make sure everything is well aligned. Had a hammer, make sure you have one of those, and carry the mattress onto the pallets. So originally I thought I would screw them, but it actually ended up working out well because the mattress was heavy enough, because it's a spring mattress, and this was basically my setup for the beginning. So yeah, this was when I thought I could sleep with them, but I ended up moving. And now for the net, I actually ended up having a mosquito net because this is Kampala and Luzera. I live in Luzera, so the lake is not too far away. So those mosquitoes, lake flies, etc., needed to be out of my bed. So I got a guy to set it up, and he did a really good job. And then I also made this ottoman, which I'll do a DIY video on it like later on. And yeah, basically this is how it ended up looking. You know, those little bits in the pallets that were empty, I turned them into my shelves for my books, and yeah, it's so lovely. It's actually one of the most comfortable beds I've slept on in my entire life. So I totally recommend, you know, everyone to do this. Like, it is so comfortable. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it super informative, and I hope I see more people get into like this DIY venture because it's cheap, it's cost effective, it looks good depending on the aesthetic you're going for, and it's actually doable. See you guys next time. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn your notifications on, like, share, comment, all the things.